Hey Microsoft, this is Sumukha. In the next few minutes, I'll be explaining how I would take up a technical concept to a friend who has no understanding about it and teach him.
It is very important for a beginner to master the basic concepts. Not only it makes a smooth learning, but also enhances clarity and understandability in the subject. Therefore, I like to divide the whole process into 4 different parts. The first part usually contains the introduction. The second part usually contains the explanation for the subject. The third part where I try to give the practical implementation for the subject. And fourth part is a exercise where the learner has to do a small problem which was related to the subject. As we are learning objects and classes using Python, I highly recommend you to download Piechart Community Edition, which is a free software IDE. After installation, you should be welcomed with a screen similar to this. If you have a blank screen, just click on File, New Project and give a name for your new project. Python is an object-oriented programming language, which means almost everything in Python is a representation of objects with its properties and methods. A class is like an object constructor or blueprint for creating objects. We can either use methods or pure functions within a class. But for today's discussion, we shall restrict ourselves in only using methods. Now let's start off with an example, shall we? Let's start by creating a class called person and defining the init function. The init function is automatically called every time the class is being used to create new objects. So it is very easy to understand methods using the init function. Now we shall create two variables, name and age. The self keyword is a parameter used for referencing the current instance of a class and is used to access variables that belong to the class. Now let's create two objects P1 and P2. P1 saying first person and the age 21, P2 as second person with age 22. If you give a print statement to an object, it gives the location of the object, or you can use the dot operator to access the particular variable in an object. Similarly, try making a class called IQ which accepts name and the IQ level of a person and print the same.